So one of the things that we hit on, Asian myth features animals an awful lot. If you talk about ancestor spirits, I mean, ancestor worship, that's a big thing in Asian culture. And animals are featured very highly in those myths, and they're usually tied to a group of other themes. There'll be a compass point, an element, a color, all these things associated with this one creature. So the four ancestor spirits that we decided on were the white tiger of the west, the red crane of the south, the jade dragon of the east, and the black ox of the north. And these, these are obviously in statue form, but you'll see their style, their influence in all the different regions of Pandaria. But how does that translate to the Pandaren themselves? Well, these are aspects of the Pandaren psyche, if you will, and we decided to build some clans around them. So you've got the white tigers of the north there, military, austere. The red cranes in the top there, flamboyant, passionate. The red crane element is fire. So there's a lot of conjuration, a lot of sorcerers, a lot of mages in the red cranes. Jade dragons, as you can probably tell from the sketch, serene, meditative. I suppose a real-world equivalent would be Shaolin monks. And in the middle, we've got the Shadow Pan. The Shadow Pan are a little bit different. They're darker, they're edgier, a little bit sinister. They're panda ninjas. We want panda ninjas. And the Shadow Pan are engaged in a timeless struggle with the Shah. What's the Shah, I hear you ask?
Hey, what's the Shah?
What's the Shah, man?
What's the Shah?
Well, one of the things when I was doing research I read up about was Feng Shui. Now, to this unenlightened Westerner, it's the Chinese art of furniture arranging. But it's clearly a lot more than that. I mean, it's an ancient law. But I thought, well, what if the Shah was a physical force, a manifestation? You know, what if the Shah being the darker side of the Feng Shui? Qi is the channeling of the positive energies. The Shah is the dark stuff you try to disperse when you arrange a couch. But what if it was real? What if it had power and menace? And what if events of the Cataclysm and the Horde and Alliance arriving in Pandaria threw the Shah into ascendancy? So suddenly it's about wrestling balance back into the world. And that seemed to fit with the culture we were developing for the Pandaren too. So I mean, here's examples here of the idea. You had Shah, the little little smoky motes that you find, scurrying around a house. But they build, they grow, and they get more powerful and bigger and more menacing. We did toy with the idea of a little bear-on-bear action. Perhaps the Shah can possess the Pandaren and you find yourself fighting your brothers. But of course, wouldn't be World of Warcraft without big bosses. I mean, how else are you going to get that raid armor that I talked about earlier? So in places of great suffering, the Shah pools, becomes more powerful, and that's when you get the huge bosses that you expect to see in our raids. And that's it for me. I'm now going to hand you over. Thank you very much. Thank you for your indulgence. Bless you. I'm going to hand you over now to Thomas Blue, who has the odious task of turning these scribbles into in-game models. So, Thomas.
Thank you, Mark. That was very informative.
Thank you.
So I'm Thomas Blue, and the video that we're not seeing, nope.
This is what we get for having a presentation in the morning.
I did go back.
Oh.
So this is the first panel, and there's the video.
Awesome.
It's very dark. So this is where you see the character team. Okay, so they're 10 of the hardest working artists in the MMO industry. And these are the guys who make weapons, armor sets, critters, mobs, bosses, pets, and player characters. As we planned to add the Pandaren, we looked back to what we had done before, and we had a lot of existing ideas. They existed in Warcraft, and now we wanted to reintroduce them to World of Warcraft. Some of our ideas were cute and cuddly, others were fierce and vicious. We'd made a model more than 5 years ago to put into WoW. So adding Pandarans aren't completely new. And we've redefined that idea. And after making the base model, we have to make it work with all of our player systems. So we have to add things like boots, gloves, capes, so that way they can wear all of the existing armor sets and all of the weapons in WoW. It takes several months of artist collaboration to finish a new player model. So the Pandaren come to us with their own set of enemies.
Yay.
Oh, we're rolling.
Hey,
Are we?
they are.
Hey, so there's the character.
Hey, by the way, good job, Blue. That was badass, dude.
Excellent work.
So you can see some of these character artists over at the artist stage later this afternoon. You can catch Rob Sevilla and John McConnell. They'll be doing demonstrations of how we make weapons and some armor pieces. I will. So, as we planned to add the Pandaren, we looked back to what we had done before. These are those examples of our concepts and creatures that we'd had in Warcraft before. As you notice, some of them are cute and cuddly. Some of them are fierce. Most of these concepts were done by Chris Metzen and Sammy. Even a dark version of the Pandaren. So this is our model from 5 years ago. You know, it was good, but Chris redefined how he wanted to see them today. So here we're going to see adding the gloves, boots, and other geosets needed for dressing up pandas. And here they are wearing some of the new clothes and old clothes. Notice the faces, they're very expressive. Gangster bear. All right, so here are the Hozu. They're one of the enemies of the Pandaren. They're a crazed monkey race. And here we have the Verming. They're an obnoxious rabbit-like creature with a vegetable-worshipping fetish. And this is how some of our artists envision the new Mantid. Okay, so those are some of the new races going into the new expansion. But the character team's been working on creatures for both the expansion and the upcoming 4.3 patch. And here's a small collection of their recent work. I mentioned armor sets earlier. In the past 6 months, we've made raid sets, dungeon sets, PvP season sets, and starting Pandaren sets. We made between 3 and 5 color variations of every set. So in that 6-month time, we've added more than 100 new armor set looks I'm also the lead technical artist. And this is the tech art team. Tech artists are the unsung heroes of game art development. They make tools and define processes that allow artists to focus on making great art. One of the many roles that a tech artist can have is that of a rigger. A rigger is a person who puts bones and specialized controls onto a model that animators then use to bring creatures and characters to life. The Pandaren has our most modern rig with an amazing facial system that allows for great amounts of personality and expression to be placed on top of already incredible animations. Thank you.
Woo.